All right. All right. All right. Well, let's go ahead. We'll get into our top five. That's right. We have a special top five for you. Evan Bevins, you came up with this idea, and I said, let's roll with it. What do we got this go round for the top five?
Jesse, are you ready for some football?
Am I ready to party?
You probably were readier before today's games, but, it's a long season. We talked about some different ones, and I'm like, how about the top five cards that make us think football?
Mm-hmm.
And that's really all there is to it. There's probably not a wrong answer, although we've determined that if anybody can find a wrong answer in these top fives, it's me. But that is what we're going for here. I'm still kind of tweaking mine because I may have a tie.
I thought this was going to be easy. And then I was like, okay, I think I know my number one. And let's figure out number 2 through 5. So I had to come up with an explanation of strategy on how I picked what I picked. Really, the best explanation is I am going to provide you with 5 members of a Marvel Super football team here.
Oh, okay.
All right. I will give you the person, and then I'll give you the position they're going to play.
Okay. Well, do you want to, instead of going back and forth, do you just want to do them? We'll each give our list because mine is pretty much ranked. I was like, yeah, here's my top 5.
All right.
So I had a couple that I went back and forth on, and I did tweak it a little bit, but mine's more of a standard countdown. So do you want to unveil your roster first? And actually, yours sounds more interesting. Let's do mine first, but then it will be overshadowed by yours.
Well, let's just say I was reaching, so don't expect to be wowed by anything. But yeah, that sounds good, man.
Number 5, you've got your stars in football games, but sometimes things happen. Sometimes they tear major tendons or ligaments, and sometimes while they're healing, they tear it again. And it may be a player that you already weren't thrilled was on your team, but they gave him a massive guaranteed contract, and they're kind of stuck with him. And so they have to bring back Joe Flacco, but I'm just going with random generic examples.
Wait a second. This sounds very familiar.
The point is, when you're talking about football, you've got your stars and you've got your guys who are in position that have jobs to do. But when it comes right down to it, it's next man up. So if you've got somebody who you had manning a particular spot on your Marvel Snap board and he gets injured or destroyed, well, you're waiting on the angel to swoop in and take up that position. Next man up.
Next man up. Nice.
Yeah, so he was one of the ones, I think he was a 1-2 originally. He's a 2-3, and I always think about him, but he always gets pushed out of my destroy decks. There's something about just having sometimes you need to destroy a card, or sometimes your opponent destroys it for you, and it's nice to have someone with a pretty on-brand animation swoop right in and take over that spot. Okay, so number 4. One of the things that always caught my attention as a kid watching football was when the players would go in motion. I don't know why, I just always thought that was neat. I remember that was a huge advancement on Tecmo's Super Bowl. So when you see and so I had one card that I was thinking about this, but like, I don't know, that seems a bit of a stretch, but you know what happens a lot of times when a player on the offense goes in motion, Jesse?
Tell me.
A player on the defense goes in motion.
They follow him.
And you know who that sounds like? Batroc the Leaper.
Good.
I could see him being a nickelback or something.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because a lot of times when I'm using Batroc, I feel pretty confident, and then I just know something's got to go wrong because I'm feeling way too dang good.
Yeah, I had him playing defense too. He was, covering somebody. That's what I thought. But yeah, I went all offense on my list, so I didn't have him there.
If we're going more to the comic character and less of the snap card, then I think he's your punter.
Okay, yeah, easily. Or, I certainly would like the Cleveland Browns to invest in a good kicker. That's all I need. I don't need a good leaper. I need a good kicker, but he could do it. I'm sure. He's very swift.
I'm just imagining a diminutive Frenchman with a supervillain mustache walking out onto the field for the Browns.
We'll take what we can get. We've had plenty of villains playing for us before.
Here you go. So, getting back to Angel, it's good to have those backups who can step in, but you want to make sure that's not necessary. So you need somebody watching the back especially of the quarterback. And usually you think of a big guy playing left tackle, watching their blind side. But in Snap, the person you want protecting your cards from Shang-Chi or any other nastiness is armor.
You know what? Let's just go ahead and cut out my number 4 for my offensive lineman, armor.
There you go.
Easily what you want for protection as far as keeping the evildoers at bay. In other words, the opposite team. Good pick. I completely agree with you.
So now that also did make me think of another. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and make number 2 a tie, because one of them, the card fits better, and the other one, the character fits better. My number 1 was almost instant, but this was easily the next one I thought of. And then I thought, well, there's a card that does this better, but I'm just going to say it. It's The Thing and The Thing First Steps.
All right.
The card doesn't do anything. It's like a backup quarterback, just, sitting on the bench holding clipboard. You hope he never shows up. But in the comics, Ben Grimm not only played football in college, but you might say that his athletic prowess and being a member of the football team is a key aspect of his character, because he was the brawn in the athletics, and Reed Richards was the science geek, and it was kind of an opposites attract sort of friendship. Ben was like the big man on campus, and Reed was not. I will never forget, and I've probably talked about it on here and many other places, but Secret Wars 2, often maligned, often in the shadow of its predecessor and the remakes, had some great moments. I may have talked about this last month when we were talking about Ben in Unlimited Class Wrestling. He wanted to get revenge on the Beyonder and got powered up by a dude who turned out to be Mephisto. Mephisto also sent a bunch of villains to take out the Beyonder and powered them up. All they had to do was lay a hand on the Beyonder and it would blow up a third of the universe. Ben Grimm, being Ben Grimm, was like, I'm not a revenge kind of guy. So he takes all that extra power and fights off 100 villains while the Beyonder sits and thinks about stuff.
Nice.
You talk about an offensive lineman.
Buddy.
So, but then I thought, First Steps, he's a defensive kind of guy.
Yes.
Powering up, biding his time, and then bam, take somebody out. So either form of The Thing makes me think of football, for sure, both as a character and as a card.
Okay.
But when it comes to the number 1, there wasn't much debating for me. And he's also a defensive guy, because whether you got Ben Grimm or Allen guarding your quarterback's blind side, unless it's Josh Allen, your quarterback's not going to be as big and can be susceptible to blitz from the Red Menace, Red Guardian.
Ooh,
He comes across your line of scrimmage, if you will, and nails your most vulnerable and possibly most important card on the other side, reducing their power and taking away their ability. Armor can't stop him. Kyera can't stop him. Cosmo can stop him. But that's about it. So a Red Guardian, he's elusive. He can wreak some major havoc, and it's hard to slow him down and keep him off your quarterback.
I love that.
So that's my number 1 card that makes me, Marvel Snap card that makes me think of football.
I wasn't expecting Red Guardian, but a very good pick, very good justification.
No one expects the right.
No, they do not. All right. Well, there you go. That's your top 5. Like I said, my top 5, I took mine and I said, okay, how do I do this? Just like you, I knew who my number 1 was going to be. 2 through 5 was going to be tough. So what I started to do is I started to go through and be like, okay, I want to give them positions, and that might help me narrow down. Now, I'm not going to be able to rank them probably as best as I wanted to, because it's hard to justify, okay, this person is better than this person for football, as far as I'm concerned anyway. But again, your number 1 and my number 1 were real easy to come up with. So there is something there. Then I started to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to stick with offense. I won't go with defense. Defense, I'm sure I could come up with something, but it seemed like to me, I'm going to do offense aside from 1. Because our first one, number 5, we're going to start out with the coach.
Okay.
All right. And the only person I could come up with as a coach, there's probably a couple that could run through your mind, but I landed on the leader.
Okay.
All right. And I like the fact that you can have an answer that almost duplicates what the opponent is going to do, or at least negates what the other opponent is going to do, or takes it into account Or maybe even say, you could look at some coaches and say they were watching the other sideline and somehow got an advantage because they cheated. The leader's villainous enough to do something like that, I'm sure. So, yes, that's what I landed
I have a
on.
hard time finding a headset for him.
It's going to wrap around the... All right, so there's my number 5. The coach of the team is going...
Or a hoodie.
Or a hoodie. We already talked about my number 4, offensive line, armor. Real easy to justify that. So then I went with number 3, and I landed on a running back. My running back has got to be impactful, clear a lane. You can almost see where I'm going here, but I might swerve you. I went with Cannonball. Cannonball is going to be my running back, so I'm going to hand it off to him. If you get in his way, he's going to move you, okay? The person, though, that's got to be handing this ball off to him is going to be my next one, number 2. Number 2, you want a quarterback that can work well with anybody. You throw him into a team, that's a good journeyman quarterback. Somebody that can be thrown onto a team, learn the ropes, and make everybody else that much better. I'm looking for somebody that can work with anybody. Get them out there, and maybe make them a little bit better. Airsham does that. Airsham does that.
Oh.
Airsham is able to get some, by turn 3, he's able to get some cards out there. And he's definitely able to impact the game by maybe getting some people motivated a little bit earlier than they should. We'll just put it that way.
He's also tall enough to see over the offensive line.
Works well with anybody. That's Airsham. And number 1, see my notes for number 3, but add the fact that we need a fullback. We need somebody that's got the power to move the line and make anybody think twice about getting in his way. And that was...
You need a fullback that no one and nothing can stop.
That is correct, sir. As a matter of fact, even comes with the helmet on. That is the juggernaut. So number 1, when I was thinking this, I was like, who could I relate to this? And it's always just watching him mow up through the lane and knock everybody out. So I landed with Juggernaut as number 1. Very good top 5.
And one that I did not think of because I made the list before that, but can I throw in a bonus positional pick?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Somebody that I never thought about this. Years ago, over on Kapow, we did an episode where I made a Marvel football team, and I think Cliff did a DC team. Juggernaut was one of the primary ball carriers.
Nice.
But I didn't think of this until I recently read a comic, and you can see my post on that over at asterisk51.blogspot.com. But you know who has the best hands in the Marvel Universe?
Tell me.
Spider-Man. In this comic, he's watching a group of kids play football, and the teams have been rather unfairly distributed. The bigger, older kids are on one team, and they're pushing these other kids around and hurting them.
Boys.
And one of the kids, a kid who goes by the name of Gerbil, gets injured, and Spider-Man says, I'll be the other player. The kids told him, we can tag you instead of tackling you. You got to count 5 before you rush. Can't use super strength, can't jump, can't use webs, and you got to play with one arm tied behind your back. And he does, but then one of the kids throws a bomb to him, and here, I'm going to send you the picture. This will be great for the audio audience. But forget hands. He's got great fingertips. Let's see Odell Beckham Jr. catch a ball on his index finger. So, yeah, I mean, he can... Yeah.
Now, is he...
So, yeah, Spider-Man would be an excellent wide receiver. Although why you would ever throw the ball when you could just hand it off to Cannonball or Juggernaut is beyond me. This will be... I had a friend who thought that the forward pass ruined football. That would be his style of offense. Right. Yeah, just hand it off to Juggernaut every time.
Forward pass ruined football. So this Web of Spider-Man, he's in the black costume. This is 34. Have we got into... I mean, we've gone and past Venom territory at this point.
I believe this came out just a couple of months before Venom debuted, but he had separated from the symbiote costume. So this was just he was wearing the black costume, but it was not alive.
Okay. All right. I was going
I hadn't thought of that. And I'm like, yes, Spider-Man has the best hand in the Marvel Universe.
He would. He really would.
One-handed catches, no problem.
I love it. All right, Evan Bevins, we did it. There's our top 5. Let's go ahead and get into plugs. What do you got going on? You already talked about it a little bit, but you probably got some more stuff over there on Asterisk 51.
Yeah, well, that's my NFL kickoff for this year, but you can also find all 12 issues plus the Super Bowl special edition of NFL Super Pro, the little Kickers Inc. coverage every year around the Super Bowl. I try to come up with a comic book parallel for the mascots of the teams. The Chiefs and Eagles keep going back. One year I reran an issue of Doom Patrol, but now I've just started pulling more issues of Doom Patrol for the Chief. And then I've had 2 different Eagles, American Eagle and El Aguila. So I'm hoping for a little variety this year. Really would like to find a comic book commander to write about.
Yeah.
So we're getting into fall. Pumpkin spice everything is out there, and you and I just recorded an upcoming episode of Magazines and Monsters that'll be debuting around Halloween. And I, while not the comic and horror movie connoisseur that Billy D is, I usually have some Halloween themed free comic Fridays and Dollar Tree cinemas coming up in October. We'll also be doing a special missing links, comics I missed the first time around. As much as I love crossovers, I never had or read the first issue of Marvel versus DC, but I found it at a sale recently with Marvel and DC resuming their crossovers. I think later this month will be a good time to finally read that and share my thoughts on it.
Awesome. Can't wait to check that out, man. Sounds like a good time. All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to this most likely affiliated with the Source Material feed. We have right here, this show, Snap Material, shows up about once a month. We got 4 or 5 episodes. Usually we drop about 20 minutes a piece throughout 1 week in the month. The Source Material Comics Podcast, where we do comics of just about any era. You can find that on here. We're at almost 11 years of podcasts now. And if you get a chance, you could check out recently myself and Mark Radlich are talking Darth Vader, the whole 2015.
Oh, you're going with the year, not the number of issues.
Don't put it past Mark Radlich to be like, hey, next week, can we do all 2015 issues of Darth Vader? You mean 2015?
Yeah, before we cover Action Comics 1000, let's see what the first 999 were like.
Yes, you could hear us talk about the 2015 series. I think it's 2015 of Darth Vader. The third volume, or the third episode, I guess, of that will be popping up here next week. And then the Unspoken Issues podcast airing tomorrow is Spectacular Spider-Man number 185. Check that out. That's going to be airing the 8th. So that's it. It's time to get out of here. Me and Evan Bevins, we have podcasted quite a bit today, and we'll be coming back at you next month. So until then, keep snapping.